Change is happening all the time. We need to identify and amplify useful change. The key word is useful change. A lot of times when we focus on change, we look at change only on the negative side of change. And if you think about it, I've worked with a lot of organizations, and sometimes some conversations can be very pessimistic as well. It's about lack, it's about the frustrations, and the question is, if we keep holding conversations around difficulties and challenges, after a while, people will always think that there's a lot of firefighting that's happening. They don't focus on what's working well in the organization. So I work with a large security company in Singapore. They ran a project really well. This project was done really well. And after, every project, they will always have an evaluation meeting. And so they spend the next 2 hours coming together to talk about the project, what happened. And imagine, there were 10 things that they did correctly and 2 things that failed. Can you tell me, where did they spend their 2 hours on? On the 10 things that work or the 2 things that failed? Ready? 1, 2, 3? 2 things, okay? And if you think about it, most of the time, even when we talk about, evaluation meeting or we talk about progress, we always talk about, these are some areas that didn't do so well and we can improve on it. They spend the 2 hours, right, talking about all the failures and how they need to mitigate them. But they didn't spend any time, right, talking about the 10 things that work very well. And you know what's the worst thing? The project was a success, but when they left the meeting room, they actually felt that the project was mediocre. It wasn't so good because they constantly focused on what went wrong instead of what went well. And if you think about it, a lot of conversations at the workplace, we spend a lot of time identifying failures, trying to mitigate them. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is we spend too much time focusing on it that we don't find out what creates success. We don't hold conversations around how can we replicate this success a lot more often? How can we make sure that it's systemized so that everybody can win as well? And these are more exciting questions, So we can always focus on failure, how to prevent failure from happening, or we can focus on what are the things that is working well that we need to be more intentional about so that it can happen a lot more often. So if you think about it, it's just like a soccer game, right? If you talk about how to mitigate failures, it's just like a goalkeeper's job. You don't win games, right, by just saving goals. You just prevent yourself from losing. But if you really want to win, you need to find out what will make the difference, that will, create a great experience for our clients, and it will really help them or add a lot of value in it. And I'll be curious around these conversations, and the best part is how do we systemize it? And these are the ones that are the strikers in a football match. They are the ones that will help you win the game. So remember, identify and amplify useful change is very, very important. But sometimes it's not commonly applied. It's something that people know, but it doesn't exist very much in a lot of organizations. So I'm going to share with you this story of the shoe story. So there was a company in UK. They are in the business of selling shoes. Very simple, women's shoes, okay, just women's shoes only. And the head of sales, every single year he has a very aggressive target. It's a double-digit growth, double-digit. And every year he could hit his targets. But after 8 years in business, he was saying, I have no idea how to sell shoes anymore. I mean, how many ways can you sell shoes, right? Shoes is a very straightforward business. And if you ask any leader, how do you increase performance? They will usually say a few things. Number 1, more training. Correct? Because the idea is more training should lead to better competencies, and better competencies should lead to better results. And that's correct. Okay? Training is important. And if you ask any leader what else can be done to improve the level of performance, they will say usually, my people need to change their mindset. So they use this one word, mindset. It covers a lot of things. It means proactiveness, must be motivated, a can-do spirit, champion mindset, or whatever, whatever. They use that word, mindset. And that's correct. Mindset is important. But there's a third thing that they can easily do that they don't notice they can just do it easily every single day as well. And that is to identify and amplify useful change. So what does it mean? So because this leader, right, he was solution-focused trained, he started asking this question. I'm just curious, who among all my sales staff, who is the one that can really sell really well? And he found out there's this one lady who outperformed the average by 20%, She sold a lot more shoes than the other people. He was very curious. He called her to the office and asked her, what's your secret? And you know what she said? Boss, I don't know. I did everything that you taught me to do. Then he was thinking, cannot be right, If you do everything that I taught you to do, you should get the same results as everybody. But why are you so good? She still didn't know. Because what she did was very intuitive. She just knew how to do things, but she didn't know how to explain it. And of course, the head of sales, he thought about it. Then he said, okay, I thought of a good idea. I'm going to spend the next 2 days at the corner of the store and I'll watch you sell. And I know it's very stressful, right? There's somebody watching you do things. But 2 days later, he called her back to the office and said, I found out your secret. I found out your secret. And then she said, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? And here's what he said to her. When a client asks you to bring from the storeroom 1 pair of shoes, size 7, you went to the storeroom, you went to the back, you came out with 4 pairs of shoes, different designs, all size 7. And you must understand the buying psychology of a lady, okay? They came to the store wanting to buy 1 pair of shoes only. In the end, how many pairs of shoes did they buy? 4. No, not 4. Women have self-control also. But they bought 2. But if you think about it, she has increased her sales from 100%, right, by 100%, right, from 1 to 2. And not only that, she was able to ask this very interesting question. Oh, would you like to pay by credit card? If you just top up your purchase just by a little bit more, you get more credit card points, and you get a free gift from us. Has that been used on you before? Right. And then most people will say, oh, just buy a little bit more. Okay, I'll just grab this, grab that, grab stuff that I don't really need. But just to hit that threshold, okay, no problem, And then they got a free gift as well. And with these 2 strategies, right, she was able to get people to buy a lot more. And not only that, increase the average transaction volume, okay, per transaction. This is very interesting. And she did it so intuitively. Then when the head of sales was just telling it to her, do you notice that you did all these things? Then you know what she said? Isn't it obvious? But what was obvious to her, right, was not obvious to a lot of people, A lot of people just said that, oh, you're lucky, you're just very hardworking, that's why you got the results. But they didn't distill that there's actually a process behind it, but she just couldn't articulate it. Yeah, and the head of sales was, he was, when he articulated, he said, what you did was really brilliant, I understand the second part, getting people to buy more. But I don't understand the first part, The first part is, how do you know what? They only ask you to bring 1 pair of shoes out, right, from the storeroom. But how do you know what 3 other pairs or additional pairs of shoes to bring out? How do you know that this was something that this lady likes? And you know what she said to him? Boss, you don't know anything about women. Nothing, okay? Because you must understand, when a lady comes to the shoe shop, right, they never ask for the first pair of shoes that they see. Okay, they will look at this pair of shoes, they will look at that pair of shoes, they will look at this pair, and they say, I want that one. And what a lady does, right, when they look at pairs of shoes, right, there are thousands of permutations that go in their mind, right, Okay, just correct me if I'm wrong, okay? When a lady stares at a pair of shoes, right, for more than about 4 seconds, they're running through in their mind, right, how they can use the shoe, So they will make statements like, oh, can I wear this shoe to work? Okay, can I wear it in my girl's outing? Can I wear it with my dress? Does it match my handbag? And there will be many thousands of permutations, right, But for guys, when we buy shoes, it's very simple. Does it look nice? Yes, buy. So for her, right, she knew that if you're staring at a pair of shoes for a while, it means you're interested, but you didn't ask for it. So what she was doing, right, she was actually observing your eye movements. She was actually observing and see, if you stare at this shoe, okay, I need to bring it out later. Okay, and that's why, right, she was always the one with a higher conversion rate, because she understood that this makes a lot of sense, you know. And the head of sales, when he heard it from her, right, he was like, oh my goodness, you are genius, you know. You're genius. And you know what he did? The next week, right, he called for a large sales meeting. He closed the other outlets, you know. He called them to come together, come earlier, you know, half an hour earlier at one particular outlet. And he said, you know, I want all of you to do very well in your job. Next time when a client asks you to bring one pair of shoes from the storeroom, how many pairs of shoes should you bring out? How many? Tell me. 4, not 10. 10 will be like indecision already, too many already. Okay, 4. And next time when they want to pay by credit card and ask them to top up the purchase. You know what's the best part? Within 9 months, they hit their entire year's revenue in just 9 months. So what does it mean? What are the implications to us? A lot of times at work, you know, we have discussions are usually around failure, around problems, you know, a lot of challenges that we're having. And even when we have meetings, usually it's to talk about that. But I'll be so excited, you know, when I hear leaders holding conversations around, hey, you know, what did we do to create a great experience for people? How did we engage the students really well? What was something that you did differently that really made the parent love you, you know? I think it's something that we need to pay more attention to. So rather than focus on amplifying unuseful change, problems all the time, we want to focus on what will create success and how do we replicate it again and again and again. And these are more exciting conversations, really, really exciting. And I think if you want to create a more joyful environment, you know, and one that will feel that you are supported, we need to focus on what works rather than what doesn't work.